Well, we're nearing the end of our course and we just need to have a quick look at a few bits and pieces. So we're going to build another app and focus on the VB script and the chart callout for populating that VB script. And whilst we're tinkering around in VB script and data sources, I thought it would be a good opportunity to go over how you handle multi-column data from a SQL data source. So remember, we covered multi-column data through ARSQRY with the sales history earlier on. So this is just the equivalent if you're targeting a SQL table, possibly in SYSPRO, but maybe in another product. So just to remind ourselves what multi-column data in a SQL table is like, this is the gen history table for SYSPRO. We've got company code, a GL code and a GL year forming the primary key. And then we've got a series of columns defining the closing balance at a particular period of time. So it looks like this. And we'll be targeting for our little example 2021, that row there. So you can see that we've got to identify the row, do a query, but somehow flip these columns into rows. And that's what we'll be doing as part of our VB script and bits and pieces. So with no further ado, let's get cracking and have a look at our app. So here we are in our second app. I've been doing quite a lot of work prior to this because we've been through it all before, so we don't really want to be wasting much time. I've added two charts, chart controls, and popped them into a tab. The first one being a bubble chart. Let's have a quick look at that. There are no pane properties other than the title there. Chart caption appearing here, palette and appearance, making sure the colors change. We've got one diagram, one series, so we don't really have to change anything there. In the diagram here, it's the first diagram. That's the y-axis title popping in here. Defaulted the colors. Grid lines are again defaulted on the series. It's the first series. It's going to be going into diagram 1, and the style is bubble, which is this. Now, I'll explain a bit more about the bubble in a short while. You can change the marker types. I've chosen circle, but you can see there are a variety of ones that you can actually do. And you can change the size of the markers as well. The starting size of the markers and so on. So, and that's that. And on the torus side, this is a 3D donut type pie chart. Exactly the same as setting up the others. We've got a title, we've got a legend, and so on like that. Slight difference that I've been experimenting with is the label format here. If you look in the online help at the bottom, it explains to you that you can format these kind of labels, and in this instance we're taking 2 decimal place, floating point, and adding a % sign after it, and you can tinker around with all sorts of formats and so on like that. So that's the basics. I've removed the customer combo. We've now got a button called Populate Chart. If we click on that, it'll take us to the toolbox. I'm talking about toolbar to edit it, and it's got an event ID of 1004 if we press it. So let's go and have a look at the VB script. So here we are. The only change I've made is I've just got on my little constant for pop-up chart, and all this is exactly the same as our previous one, except that when we press our button for a pop-up chart, I run a function called populate chart. So let's have a quick look at that. Very, very, very simple. It's just a matter of building XML strings up. And you can see here that it starts with chart series 1 points and ends points series 1 charts. And then the content of the XML is a series of points which start with label, and that's the label for the bubble, and this is its or d width is the value, and that's the diameter of the bubble. So as the bigger the number, the bigger the bubble. Now, for a bubble chart, it's actually quite interesting. You might imagine, well, how on earth do you position the bubbles in the chart? And in fact, it's XY coordinate. So you'll see value, in effect, value 1, value 2. This is 7 columns across and up a value of 25, and it works out the relative positions. Worth reading up if you're going to be using bubble charts or scatter graphs. The bubble needs to have an XY coordinate to position it, and then the value is the size of the bubble. And for the torus one, which we'll have a look at in a short while when we're running it, it's very, very simple. It's a label, it's a value, but it has quite an interesting little extension called exploded, and we'll see that, and it'll pop the segment out of the torus. So we build our final XML string where we add our header, our XML, and our footer together, and we've got a single chart call out over here, and you just simply create call a chart populate. You identify the chart. Well, if we double click this, we'll get our 2 charts that we can see, and you just throw the XML string at it. It's as simple as that. Now, I find it difficult to find an example where I'd want to build all this rather than use data sources for the kind of stuff that we're doing. But I can see times when you might well want to run a data source, bring the results into your VB script, and do some forward-onward manipulation prior to populating a chart or something like that. So let's go and have a look at it actually running. So here we are with our little app, and I just say populate charts. There we go. We can see these are our labels coming here. The diameter of these bubbles are the value, the D width you saw, and their position in the chart. This will be starting at 0. This will be position 1 and a value of 7 up. So it's basically coordinates, and you can work out an algorithm to put those in. And for the torus, there we have it again, the labels and their values, and this is the exploded bit, so you can pop those out as well. And on things like the torus, you can move them around and tinker with it and so on. So it's quite a nice little graph. So what I want to do now is just pop back into our app and see about multi-column SQL data. Okay, so we'll just nip into our data sources now. We're going to add a data source. Let's call this Gen History. It's going to be a custom data source because it's going to be SQL. We will pick up our connection to our current database, and now we're going to go into edit our SQL statement. Okay, now one of the things we haven't really looked at is if you look along here, there are some SQL examples, and this is a starting list, and I guess it'll be extended as we build more and more sophisticated examples in here. But one of them is something called cross apply, and this is an example. If we double click it, it'll bring the whole thing in. It explains what it does and how it works. But in essence, what we're doing here is we're selecting all the rows. We're working out a month name with a rather convoluted thing, but basically that's what it's actually doing. And then we are actually using something called cross apply. And basically what the cross apply allows you to do is have a secondary query inside your primary, and you can see here that we're basically saying the label and the balance. That's the label, that's the balance. Our two brand new columns, which we reference up here. And this cross-apply instruction here is clever enough to say, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to select the GL code of the GL year, and then the label and balance. And for every label and balance, I want you to generate a row with GL code, GL year, label and balance. Really quite clever. Because we're in 2023, we just need to do a little bit of stuff on here. I'll just take 2 years off so that we hit our 2021 row. And if we do a test check there we get the information back. So if I just save that, we just say we'll have a look at it as a list maybe. You can see now we've got a GL code 2021, closing balance period 1, a value, the month name of January. And you can see for every column, closing period 2, closing period 3, we've got a brand new row and so on. So that's actually an example of how you would take a single row with multiple columns and flip it to help you do list views and things like that. So that's the end of our course. I hope you've enjoyed it. And as ever, if you get stuck or want to comment about the courses, just email me. Details are on the front screen. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.